Welcome back to JR's Beauty World 101 with another video. Thank you, your girl JR is in the house. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss my favorite top 10 palettes. And by no means that they are, I feel that they are the best. But for me, rating these palettes was all about everyday look, ease of use, blending, blendability for 9 to 5. And every time I use these palettes, I always feel that I can create a look 1, 2, 3. I don't have to pre-plan the look that I'm going to create, because some of these palettes can be challenging. Some of them you have to pre-plan the look. Again, because I'm not a pro, I just love my palette, as I've said in a previous video. So without further ado, I don't want this video to be too long like my other few videos. Let's get on with my top 10 favorite everyday palette. So number 10 is the Sahara Alter Ego palette. And this palette, I saw someone on YouTube using this brand. I was not familiar with the brand. I purchased it. I love the palette. So now this is the look of the palette. As you can see, these are everyday neutral look that you can create with this palette. They're beautiful. I love the colors, all the shimmers and the browns and the creams and the everyday colors that speak to me. So this is my number 10 Alter Ego palette. I rate this palette number 9. This is the Pat McGrath, and this is the Golden Opulence. I love this palette when it came out. I love the packaging. I'm a big fan of Pat McGrath, so whatever she brings out, of course, I'm going to get it. And this one falls under number 9. Doesn't necessarily mean that I like it any less than the others, but I have so many palettes that it was so hard for me to come up with and just choose 10 out of the ones that I have. So this one, as you can tell, this has been around for it's almost a year now, if not a year. And this color story speaks to me. It's beautiful. The packaging is beautiful. The colors are just lovely. These are my colors. And again, you can get away doing a 9 to 5 with these. These are not too crazy, shiny, shimmery that you can't do a 9 to 5 look with. So if you're a 9 to 5 girl and you want simple look, you can pull this off with this one. And this is my number 9. So number 8. Now these little bite-sized shadow palettes are, I saw, I think Andrea Renee, she was talking about these palettes so much, and I am such a fan of them. They're $3. You can get them from Target. I think she said Walmart also. I got some from Target. Target didn't have all the colors in. But what I can tell you that these $3 palettes will give you a run for your money. They are so pigmented. They are blendable. They just work. You use them, you put them on, and they can compete with any high-end products. They last all day. So these are by e.l.f. Cosmetics. And again, they are $3. There are a lot of them. I have, 7 of them, and these are the favorite colors that I gravitate towards. This one is my favorite, and this one is called Carnival Candy. So Carnival Candy, just it just so pretty on the eye. You won't go wrong choosing any one of these, especially they're only $3, so you can get them all. All right, this is number 7. Okay, so Number 6 is from Tinted Cosmetics. I know most of you guys know about Tinted Cosmetics. I learned about them about 2-3 years ago, and I started buying their lipstick. And the palette, every time I wanted to buy the palette, it always sells out. I couldn't get my hands on it. Finally, when I got my hands on it, it was just, I couldn't wait to play with it. I love this palette. I wish I could put it further down in my number ones, but this palette, again, as you can see, I guess this is all the color story that I gravitate towards. All the browns, the nudie shades, and you know, those little light shimmery shade, those are my jam, as to say. But this palette, I just love it. You can't go wrong. If you're looking for a palette that you're not scared to try, if you're like me, scared to try colors, start off with something like this. You can't go wrong with it. If you wear 1 or 2 shadows, you can come off with a nice look with this. And again, this is by Tinted Cosmetics, one of my fave. All right, guys. Now this is number 7 or 6, one of them. I'm losing track because I'm so excited talking about palettes. Now, Kylie Cosmetics. I do like her shadows. I have quite a few of them. They're blendable, long-lasting, and you know, this palette, out of all of the ones that I have, I think I have about 4 or 5 of her palettes. And to me, this palette is the sort of sweet palette, S-O-R-T-A. And this palette is just beautiful. Every time I use this palette, I always come away with a look that I like. You know, they had a sale the other day. I thought, you know what, I should get a backup just because I love it so much. And as you can see, this palette is so used by me, but any color story, any look that you're trying to come up with, night or day, you can come up with a look. I love this color right here, and then this into your crease, that at the corner. It is so beautiful. So I don't know if you guys have tried this. I've been out for a while now, but again, this is one of my top favorite palette. I will get another one just to have it as backup. Okay, guys, so this palette is like a newer palette. I don't know, it's been out for a few months now. It's by Melt Cosmetics. Now this Melt Cosmetics, I've heard the Fancy Face. She's the one that I've learned about the brand Melt Cosmetics from, because she loved their shadows, and I'm just now falling in love with them. This is my fourth one, and this one is definitely, I got this about a month ago, and I've used it several times, and this is in my top 10, as you can see. So this is, she's in Party's palette, and I don't know, that name seems a little funny for a palette, but it works, and the color story is so beautiful. I'm quite sure, again, you probably also seen this palette, all the colors. These are my colors, the purples, the light pink, and the deep burgundy. These are my colors, and so this is my favorite Melt Cosmetics. Let me tell you something, these these shadows, they blend so beautifully. You never have to, you know, try to clean up, to rework what you've done, because that's how good they are. So if you have a chance, if you don't know about Melt Cosmetic, please go out and try one of her palette. There's a palette called, it's all weed on her palette, but there's that green one, I can't remember the name of it, but oh my god, that palette is just lovely. So if you have a chance, try one of these palette. All right, the next one is Tom Ford. Now, Tom Ford palettes, they're not cheap by no means. And I'm not telling you to go buy a palette for this price. I think it's $88 for the palettes. And the thing is that I have about 8 of them. I buy them every time I go on sale. My favorite one is on sale. I grab them. So I have about 8 of them that I have now. But this one is called the Honeymoon or Honeymoon palette, 04 Honeymoon. This one is so pretty. I love this, excuse my fingerprint on it. Love this palette so much. The colors, again, as you can see, these are my colors, and it's just beautiful. This, I don't know if it's like a reddish burgundy color. I don't know if you can see that real well. And then this sort of gold palette, gold single, and then this deep burgundy plummy color. And again, this is almost like a little champagne, deeper champagne color. But these colors, they blend so good. And the thing about this palette, it does not have a matte in there. They're all shimmers, but these shimmers work like matte. So they blend well, they're buttery soft, and you cannot go wrong with them. And if you want to try one of these palettes, they're always having sales. Look out for the sale, because by no means, I'm not going to tell you to buy a palette for $88 for 4 shadows, and you can get the e.l.f. For $3, and they work as well, but to each his own. And if this is something that you love and you want to try it, please do. Okay, guys, my next palette, which is number 8. Actually, I'm going backwards. This is number 7, 8. I don't know, I lost track. Excuse me. Now, Sydney Grace. Sydney Grace, again, I learned about Sydney Grace from the Fancy Face. Every time the Fancy Face, you should check out her channel. Every time she recommends a palette, I swear to you, I go out and try it, and I'm in love with the palette. Now, this one is the Love palette, and what I like about this palette, it comes in a lighter version. This is the deeper version. I wish more companies would do that with all the different ethnicity, skin tones that we have. So therefore, you can't just say, oh, that's too light for me, that's too dark for me. So I love that, because of, for a dark skin girl, you can always use this palette. Blendable, buttery soft colors, and these colors, I'm telling you, if you look at the color story on them, they are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. I love this blue-green right here, and this is something that, I would not normally use. And then all the other colors, they blend so well, they just work. So if you get a chance, this palette has been out. I think also last year this came out. So if you have not have a chance to pick up the Love palette, please go out and do it. And it's by Sydney Grace. Now, my number 2 palette, because I don't know whether I was counting up the other way or down the other way. Number 2. Now, this palette is my first Natasha Denona palette that I fell in love with. And I always used to remember going to Sephora and looking at the palette, and I'm like, oh, that is too much money. I'm not going to be buying a palette for that. But every time I go to Sephora, there's a few palettes that you want to get. You look at it, it's so beautiful, but then you see the price and you're like, no way. So this palette is the Metropolis palette. Now, this has been out for a while now. I can't tell you how long, like I said, because these palette, they were just out of my price point. I always think it was just too much money for the palette. But let me tell you something. I just bit the bullet, and after watching Kinky Sweat video, and I bit the bullet, and let me tell you, now I'm hooked on Natasha Denona palette. This palette is one of my favorite. Now, I have about 5 of her palettes, and this is number one from, not my number one, from Natasha brand. And so this palette, oh my God, just this palette, you can just look at the palette, look at the color story, and it is to die for. Look at the colors. You know, this to me would be like a fall palette. You want to use this in the fall. But I'm telling you, this is summertime. I've used it a couple of times with the lighter shades, and it works beautiful. I love the colors, the shimmers, the greens. You know, this color right here, they're just beautiful. They blend like dream. You don't have to be a pro to dip your brush into it and come up with a look that you're not scared of. So if you have a chance, they had a sale the other day. I did pick up another one of her palettes. So I'm hoping there's another sale soon, because I want to finish off my collection with Natasha Denona, only because I love their palettes so much. I have two palettes that I need to make videos with. I have I think the Love palette, I think that one, and the Biba palette. Oh, the Biba, that's another one of my fave. But my top palette of Natasha Denona is this palette. Again, go out and try it. Treat yourself. If you know, a birthday, Christmas or something, and you are in love with palettes that I am, treat yourself to one of these. Now, number one, my number one palette, and it is no other than Ms. Pat McGrath. And this palette is the Subversive Mothership 3. Now, Pat McGrath, oh my God, let me tell you this. I remember going to Sephora, just like with Natasha Denona. And this palette, I always have to swatch it. I always have to look at it every time I go into Sephora, but I just couldn't bit the bullet. I just couldn't see myself buying a palette for that much money. And I wasn't into shadows that day, but something about this palette just kept calling me, speaking to me every time I go into Sephora. This is the first place I would head in Sephora, where all the Mothership palettes and all of Pat McGrath setups are. And when I finally bought the palette, I said to myself, this was going to be my first palette. Now, I don't know how long this palette is out on the market. I don't know if this, you know, how long, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. But what I can tell you is every time I look at this palette, I have not used it much, because you know how I was talking about my everyday palette? Fortunately, this one, you do have to, in my opinion, you do have to plan out looks, because this is not something that I would do for my work every day. You know, but the colors are so beautiful, so pigmented, and I just love this palette. I always kept going back and forth, back and forth. I have to get this palette. So when I was able to get it, this was going to be my first Pat McGrath palette, and now I have pretty much all her palette except two of them, the Star Wars 6-pan, because there was a glitch in her added them to your basket and checking out. So those are her only two palettes that I'm not able to get my hands on. But I'm telling you, girl, this palette, oh my God, this is the colors, the pigment, and you know, it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I can't even describe to you the love that I have for this palette. And this is not in the first place, because again, you do have to, you know, be careful using these. You don't want to come out looking like a clown. But because this was the first Pat McGrath palette that I fell in love with, and you know, it never changed. My love for this palette has never changed. This is why this one has wind up in my number one. So ladies, there you have it. And also, this is what the look that I was able to come up with on my eyes using this palette. I didn't put a lot on. I hope you can see the colors on camera, because they do look beautiful. But I just wanted to share what I came up with Mothership 3. Again, this is it, my final top 10 favorite everyday eyeshadow palettes. Ladies, let me tell you something. You don't have to spend $125, $129 to get a beautiful look. No, you don't. But again, do what speaks to you. If you fall in love with a palette as Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona, those are pricey palettes. You know, get it on your birthday. You always get a gift for your birthday. So get it on your birthday. Wait till there's a sale. Every time I buy one of these palettes, I buy them on sale. It's never full price. And so that way I don't feel too bad that I'm spending $129, $125 for a palette. And as you can see, the e.l.f. bite size, you can have same look, blendability, and you still can come away with a beautiful look with a $3 eyeshadow quad. And so, you know, you have to really see what fits into your price point. Try one of these palettes. If you have tried any of these palettes, if any of these palettes are in your top 10 faves, please comment below. Let me know your opinion on them. Also, this look, if you like this look, you want me to do it again on camera, please let me know. And please remember, ladies, please subscribe to my channel. Give my video a thumbs up. Again, I will see you in my next video soon. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.